Now, there is a lot of debate on how to pronounce the name of the car brand that I'm driving here today. Some say Hyundai, some say Hyundai. I say Hyundai, like Sunday, because that's how they want it pronounced. Hyundai even did a whole Super Bowl campaign about it in 2009, and they also made it Twitter official. That said, no matter how you pronounce the name of this brand, we can all agree on how to pronounce this letter right here, N. My name is Omar, and this, you know what, I'm not even gonna pronounce the name of this brand. This is the Elantra N. Surprisingly enough, some people will even fight over on how to pronounce Elantra. Some crazy people out there say Elantra. What? What the heck is an Elantra? Anyway, let's talk Elantra N. The N means this is the fast one. In the United States, we've had the Elantra N line, but never the true N. Other parts of the world, like Europe, have had the i30N for quite a while now, which is essentially the same thing as this right here. So, what are we working with here? A lot, to be honest. See, unlike the Sonata N line, Hyundai didn't just throw a lot of power in the Elantra N and call it a day. Well, they probably did that with the new Elantra N line, but there's a lot more going on in the true Elantra N. Under the hood, you have a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo engine making 276 horsepower and 289 pound-feet of torque. You can get it with a 6-speed manual transmission or an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic. But it gets better. On top of that, you have a limited slip differential, a stiffer suspension, brakes that you would never expect to see in this segment, and much more that we'll talk about in a few minutes. Not to mention, it sounds absolutely great. Now, N cars are known to have some pretty crazy exhaust sound, but pop this into N mode, and this will snap, crackle, and pop in almost every downshift. Take a listen. Come on, that's great. How could you get tired of that sound? It just makes that whole N experience that much more fun. Don't worry though, if you're thinking of buying one, you can just drive it in normal or eco mode and get rid of that exhaust sound so it doesn't give you a headache on your daily commute. Speaking of buying, the Elantra N competes with the likes of the Volkswagen Golf GTI, the Jetta GLI, the Subaru WRX, and kind of the Civic Type R. So, should you consider buying it over the competition? Let's find out. Let me give you a quick tour of this thing. We'll check out the inside, we'll take a look at the controversial outside, and then I'll give you my opinion on whether or not if you should pick the Hyundai Elantra N as your daily driver. Make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe. All right, let's do this. All right, so one thing that I want to start off with is the pricing. Of course, this is the most expensive Elantra. On the flip side, this is the cheapest N model that you can buy. Pricing starts at $32,150 for the Elantra N, $32,500 for the Veloster N, and $34,200 for the Kona N. Not only is the Elantra N the most affordable N model, but it also gives you more than the other N models. Compared to the Veloster, you get more in terms of space, plus you get an extra door. The Veloster has 3, this being a sedan, you obviously get 4. Hop in the second row of the Elantra N and you're working with 38 inches of legroom. I'm about 6 foot tall, that's my seating position. As you can see, I have quite a bit of room. This is definitely more spacious and more comfortable than the other 2 N models. So if rear passenger room is of concern to you, you might want to go for the Elantra N over the Veloster N and the Kona N. That said, let's hop inside and check out the interior of the Elantra N, and let's start off with the tech. Like the Kona N that I recently tested, the Elantra N also has a 10.25-inch digital gauge cluster display. It's packed with a bunch of useful information, and you have a navigation map view as long as you have a route set, so that's pretty cool. But the coolest part is the animations that occur when you circle through the drive modes. All Kia, Hyundai, and Genesis models do this, and I think it's really cool. And of course, when you shift into N mode, this display goes crazy, kind of theatrical if you ask me. The Elantra N also gets a 10.25-inch center touchscreen display that houses the familiar Hyundai infotainment system. It's a very quick and easy system to use, one of my personal favorites in the industry. You have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. They are wired, they aren't wireless, and you have navigation, but you also have a dedicated N mode screen. Once you get in here, you can dig through a bunch of information like your throttle, oil temperature, engine temperature, and you can also access some popular racetracks, which is pretty cool. This thing is pretty packed. Swipe right and you're brought over to another screen where you can check out your G-force meter. You can also activate your launch control from right here. And you can dig through some other performance options to customize a few other things. Now, as you saw a few minutes ago, the Elantra N has a few drive modes, including Eco, Normal, and Sport. But you also get 2 custom modes that you can set up right here through the N mode screen. You can go through and customize basically anything you want, including the engine, the steering, the suspension, the transmission, your limited slip differential, your traction control, and your exhaust sound. You can customize anything and everything. Now, once you do set up your two custom modes, you can access them right through the two N mode buttons right here on the steering wheel. While these buttons do provide an easy way for you to access your N mode, you can also use them as a shortcut for other settings. If you hold down either of them for 3 seconds, you can go through and set them to be the buttons to activate your custom 1 or custom 2 modes. You can set them to circle through your drive modes and start and end your lap timers. Now, you also have a red button right here labeled Rev. If you push it, that will activate your rev matching. Basically, what this does is it matches your engine RPM to your shifting RPM to reduce the jolt you get when you downshift. It has the same effect as heel and toe, but this is just a more automatic option that's quicker and lets you focus on carving corners in your N. Now, if you go for the DCT Elantra N, this button will become your NGS or N Grin Shift button, which will give you an extra 10 horsepower for a total of 20 seconds. Now let's get into talking about the overall interior comfort, and let's start off with these seats. These seats do look really cool. There's no doubt about that. I have heard some people complain about them being uncomfortable. I didn't really feel that way, to be honest. I think they were just fine for my everyday drive. I actually found them to be quite comfortable. Now, what I didn't really like about these seats is that they aren't automatic. Both the driver and the passenger seat are manual adjustable. Nonetheless, they did take a page out of BMW M seats where the N logo in the seats lights up at nighttime, so that's a cool touch that you see coming from the ex-BMW M team that's now working at Hyundai's N team. Not to mention, these seats are heated as standard, so that's pretty nice. Other than that, this interior is pretty comfortable, and again, this is the most spacious N model in Hyundai's lineup, so this is the one that I would prefer. Quality-wise, it's what you would expect in this segment. It's a blend of soft touch materials, but you do have some hard plastic throughout this cabin, like here on the door armrest. And then this grab handle right here just doesn't feel all that solid. Personally, I think other options in this segment, like the new Honda Civic and the Mazda 3, do a better job of offering you a higher quality interior. Now, one thing that most people will like about this interior is that you have a bunch of physical buttons and controls. Every essential function that you need is really a push of a button away. Now, other than the tech that you've seen so far, you also get dual zone climate control, which I don't believe the other two N models have. You have a wireless charger right here, and you also have a pretty solid Bose sound system. It's not the best in the segment, but it's not that terrible either. Driver assist tech-wise, you get Hyundai Smart Sense, so you have a lot that you're working with here, including forward collision warning, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, lane keep assist, lane follow assist, and much, much more. Oh, by the way, you also get a digital key with the Elantra N. What you don't get here is adaptive cruise control. Now let's quickly talk about the outside. Look, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I've seen people that really love the exterior design of the new Elantra N, and I've seen some people that really dislike it, especially from the front. The N here is a bit aggressive, obviously, with this giant exclusive N grille with the N badge, so everyone knows that you're driving the faster N. You also have an updated front diffuser and some functional vents right down here. Now, people don't really like the fact that this grille is all blacked out, and I get it. It will stand out on lighter colors, but you won't notice it as much on darker colors. That said, I personally like the design of the new Elantra. I think it's edgy. I think it's different from what we've come to expect from this segment. The N also gets some signature N design elements with this red accent you see all around the car. It comes standard with LED headlamps that look really sharp, swing around the back, and you also have pretty sharp LED taillights that span the width of the rear end. But what's cooler here on the N is that you have a giant spoiler, which looks cool or childish depending on how you see it. I see it as cool. You've also got dual exhaust pipes right here. Those look really nice. Let's take a listen to how they sound. Wheel game wise, you're working with 19-inch alloy wheels as standard, and they're wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, which you don't see in this price segment at all. Not to mention, you also have pretty strong brakes for a car like this, with 14.2-inch rotors in the front and 12.4-inch rotors in the back. The only thing I don't like about the packaging of the Elantra N is that you can't get a sunroof if you get a manual transmission, and apparently that's only in the United States. If you get the DCT, you can get a sunroof. I don't know why that is. Color-wise, you have 5 choices, including this performance blue, which is a pretty popular color, not my favorite. You also have black, white, dark blue, but my personal favorite has to be the cyber gray. That looks pretty tough. Now, before I give you my opinion on how the Elantra N drives, let me point out a few daily ownership highlights that I'll have to show all of you. You only have 2 cup holders right there in the front. You don't have rear cup holders, and I'm guessing that's because you have that rear brace. So only 2 cup holders. Also, I just noticed you don't have vents in the back. Here are what the keys look like to the Elantra N. You have your lock, unlock, trunk, and panic button, and you have a nice little N logo on the back. Pretty cool. Sorry if you can hear some people talking in the park in the background, but let's do a door open and close sound from the outside. And from the inside, solid. Charging game wise, you're working with a USB-A port, another USB-A port, and a wireless charger, and that's it. There's no other charging going on in this car, not even in the rear seats, so that's all you have. Let's check out the cargo capacity. To pop the trunk, you just push this button located right here, and once you get it open, you're working with 12.4 cubic feet of space, and since you have a rear brace in the back over here, you can fold down the rear seats, but that brace will be in the way, so if you want to load any larger items, you might have some difficulty. Let's do a quick indicator and horn sound test. Indicator first. Same old Hyundai indicator. And now for the horn sound, I haven't honked it yet. Does it sound cheap or does it not? Let's take a listen. Oh, that's pretty solid. Did not expect it to sound like that. So not only does this thing sound pretty crazy on the outside, but it sounds pretty nuts inside as well. As a part of something called active sound design, which we've seen on other Hyundai models, you'll have some pumped in sound coming into the cabin. Now, you can go through and adjust the amount of sound you want coming in, but you can also pick the type of sound. You can pick between sporty, high performance, both honestly sound pretty much the same to me. And it's actually pretty weird. Just take a listen. It's cool for about 5 seconds or so, but then it becomes a little too much. I'm just gonna go ahead and turn it off and just enjoy the real pops and bangs coming from the exhaust on the outside. Now, 0 to 60 for the Elantra N comes in at 5.3 seconds if you get it with the 6-speed manual transmission. If you go for the 8-speed DCT, well, that should be able to do it in 5 seconds flat or just under it. So yeah, those figures are pretty much on par with the rest of the segment. However, the driving experience from this is just so much better in every way. Honestly, I've been driving this around for a week and it's just been so much fun. Everything in here is so dialed in for performance driving, and as we saw earlier, it's highly customizable. Now, the best thing about the Elantra N is the fact that you have a limited slip differential. Reason being, front-wheel drive cars with a lot of power and torque tend to have a lot of torque steer. Just drive the Sonata N-Line or the Kia K5 GT and you'll see what I mean. Those don't have a limited slip differential, so they dance all around if you take off hard. Here, it's actually all pretty well composed. And that helps with handling as well. You can floor it coming into a corner or out of one, and it doesn't lose its balance and fall apart. This honestly handles better than the GTI, the GLI, the WRX, and the Civic Type R. This is outstanding. The steering feel is pretty tight, and again, you can customize it between like 3 settings, but honestly, no matter what setting you're in, the Elantra N is just so direct and so precise. I honestly can't believe that this car is able to do all this for just over $32,000. Now, all that custom mode stuff is cool, but I feel like it's a little too much. There are way too many things to play around with in here. I've just kept it in N mode and I've been happy here. Definitely happier than I was in N mode in the Kona N or the Veloster N. But unlike those two, this doesn't violently bounce around. For example, here's a clip of me going over an overpass in the Kona N. I almost die. Now approaching uneven surface in N mode, and I'm scared. Just watch my whole life fall apart. Oh, let's do another one. There's another underpass thing coming up. Oh my God. Oh, that hurts. Here's that same overpass in the Elantra N. I'm totally fine. Didn't break my back or anything. This right here is the perfect balance between a stiff, sporty suspension and a comfortable daily driver. I've seen other reviewers talk about how this is too stiff as a daily commuter car, but I honestly disagree completely. Yes, in N mode, it's a little aggressive, but pop it into sport mode and it calms down a little. Pop it into eco and normal and all the N just seems to disappear. There's no stiff suspension, there's no crazy exhaust sound, the revs are normal, and it's just an eco mode saving you some gas. But forget that. Back to N mode, because that's where I want to live. Let's talk about the shifter. Again, I've seen other reviewers talk about how it feels lame and too economy, but I disagree. It doesn't have really tight short throws or even longer throws, but it doesn't take away from the whole N experience. Now, would I rather go for the DCT? It's hard to say. Yes, I want the whole N grin shift, extra power, For 20 seconds, I felt that in the Kona N, and it actually felt like you hit the NOS button. But I gotta say that shifting your own gears and hearing that feedback from the exhaust is just so much more fun. I have had such a great time driving this thing, and honestly, as of right now, I would buy this over everything in this segment. Yes, the $32,150 price tag is a little bit more than the starting price tag of the GTI and the Subaru WRX, but this comes with everything you've seen here as standard. There aren't any options. For the final price tag, you get everything. Of course, that's if you're lucky enough to find a dealer that will sell it to you at that price. As for the Civic Type R, well, a new one is on the way, and it should be something really special. The Elantra N isn't a part of the 300 horsepower club like the Civic Type R, but this definitely handles better than the current Type R. I'm really excited for the new Civic Type R, but for now, this right here, which also has an H on the hood, is my favorite affordable performance car. Either way, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. My handle is @OmarDrives. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care. Peace. Jesus, this thing is so much fun. It can get you into a lot of trouble too. Look at that sound. Just downshifted in, makes me feel like I'm amazing. Just upshifted. Makes me feel like I'm amazing again. Downshift. No sound that time.